Hi, welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is the Duran period. Well, actually, gonna discuss a video that I made, but that wasn't the purpose of this video. When I did make a video about Duran, then there were some comments in the comment section, and one of them was that I tried to piggyback on the Duran, and that they are very well known and have a lot of credibility. And then another commentator made a comment that I'm actually trying to present misinformation. So before I start with the video, I just would like to clarify the matter. I am not picking on the Duran. I am neither piggybacking on them or their fame or whatever you want to call them. I do make other videos which doesn't concern them, and if I had to piggyback, then I would make a video on each one of their releases. And they do release about 3 a day. Now, what has happened with the Duran is that, well, I know Alex Mercouris since his days on Crosstalk, and I've been watching Crosstalk for many, many years, so I'm quite familiar with his work. And I do respect the Duran, but Alex is a good narrator, and he spins a story well, and it's pleasant to listen to him, but sometimes he talks bollocks, sorry to say. And that is where I disagree. Now, earlier I didn't make any videos, so I could never express my views, but I do now have a video channel where I can express my views, and that is what I'm doing. I also do why I disagree with other people that I don't agree with, but consider this more like a debate. A debate consists out of two, each participant usually presents an argument, and then after that there are counter-arguments, and then there are maybe questions. But unfortunately, it is impossible to follow the format of a formal debate. So basically, consider it as their videos are the first entry of the debate, and my videos are the second entry to a debate. Most of the times, I do agree with them. That's why I don't make videos about all of their shows. So only those shows that I do disagree with. So for me, trying to be piggybacking on them, that's a no-no. And accusing me of misinformation, that is very much like what we accuse the Western propaganda of, that you don't agree with an opinion or a statement, then you say it's misinformation. And it seems to me that some of the Duran's fans are having the same type of attitude. I do not say that I am right. I do make mistakes, and I might be wrong in certain situations, and very similar to the Randu. Nobody is perfect. The point here is that this channel is about questioning the narrative and presenting alternative views or alternative interpretations of the facts. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. So, if you don't want to watch my videos, fine. If you believe I am spoiling the shows of the Duran, that's your prerogative. You can watch them. I don't mind. They have good narratives. They have a lot of knowledge, especially Alexander. And I have been following him myself, so nothing new about that. But I do also follow a lot of other people, and I do read a lot of blogs and news articles. So, and I know also that there are a lot of other commentators or bloggers that more or less know what Alexander knows and even more. And I have made some videos about those as well, when I disagree, but I don't always disagree. Okay. But this prompted me, since the comments asked for that. So let's discuss in a video of the Duran that was presented recently. And it was China moves up the sanction escalator. And basically, it was the new sanctions that were implemented by the Americans, by the USA on China's chip making industry. And basically, that's the topic. Now, many things that the Duran has said, I do agree. So it's not that I don't agree with everything. So I'm rather going to add some items which they haven't covered, and some items I sort of disagree. Now, firstly, there was a chip bill that was introduced. It was actually under negotiations for the last 12 months. The chip bill was approved in June, July. And the major part of this chip bill in the USA focused on the financing of the chip making industries. And what this means is that America, just let me get the numbers right here. It's going to spend, hey, where's it then now? America is going to spend roughly about $52 billion in subsidies to the semiconductor industries companies in order to increase their manufacturing capability in the US. And then they want to go give them tax credits and so forth. So it is basically a huge financing exercise in bailing out or subsidizing or financing American companies that are already making huge profits. As far as I understand, is that Intel last year made a profit of $20 billion. But these incentives are there to promote the expansion of the manufacturing capability of semiconductors in the US. And this was basically motivated by the supply chain problems that were experienced during the COVID period. Now, as far as I understand, it's not only limited to the $52 billion. I think it's going to spend about $500 billion over the next 10 years. So, as you can see, this is a significant investment and expenditures for the US. And the question is basically whether they can afford it or not. Now, if you knew about this little investment, then you have to ask your question, what is the aim of the sanctions that are currently being aimed to be levied against China? And what the sanctions actually means is that high-tech, basically microchips, some of the most advanced microchips and manufacturing techniques is going to be sanctioned and therefore cannot be exported to China, except, and that's a loophole, by obtaining a license. So if there are some companies that have some buddies in the US government, they might probably obtain a license and then continue and sidestep the sanctions, which is a nice little extra line. But is it not also maybe to support the local companies, US companies, in order to increase their manufacturing capability and as well as motivate or support their investment bills, or rather subsidy to the industry? So one can say the one side, yes, they want to punish China, and the other side is they want to validate or support their own bill, which actually is geared to subsidize the local industry. Well, one has to ask about what effect will this have, and that is quite an interesting scenario. The problem is that China dominates the microchips, global microchips export. Hong Kong, these are numbers for 2020. Hong Kong had an export of $154 billion. China itself had $117 billion. And Taiwan had $123 billion, only for 2020. And then we have Singapore, South Korea, and the USA sitting on $44 billion. So as you can see, China is a huge player in the chip making market. Now, we all should know that microchips are not only used in advanced computers or graphics cards, or maybe supercomputers. They are used all over. Biggest commodity are probably PCs and cell phones, but also a lot of electronics and televisions, radios, hi-fis, car industry, big user. And these are the type of items that China and Taiwan and Hong Kong are producing. The most advanced microchips being produced by America is only a very, very small subset. And that is only to limit the advance and technological advances of China. But as we all know, sanctions are a double-edged sword. And what it will do is it will hasten the development of China of their own technology in order to manufacture higher quality chips and more advanced chips. Now, one of the components is basically the capability of the manufacturing equipment, and the best technology available is to manufacture microchips at the scale of 7 nanometers. And the next one is 11 nanometers. Now, China can produce equipment that can manufacture microchips at down to a size of 11 nanometers, and only the 7 nanometer technology is actually controlled by the Americans. And these are used for very, very advanced microchips. Most of the chips are either produced by the 11 nanometers or even higher technology. So again, it will have a very limited effect on the China industry. Also, together, well, one has also remember that China invests a lot of money into research and development. They are basically the leaders in artificial intelligence, whether the Americans would like to acknowledge or not. They are capable, or they have a huge amount of graduate people, highly intelligent people, that can quickly basically advance technology. This is not going to take the Chinese like 10 years to catch up. This is going to be done in a very short time, because I'm sure the Chinese will try to make it a priority. Also, how will the Chinese basically retaliate? Well, that's a big question. So, the Chinese are not as self-destructive as the West is. So maybe they will retaliate, maybe they will put some restrictions, or they will put in some artificial restrictions like the so-called zero COVID policy and lockdowns, and thereby delaying production and thereby delaying product delivery, and thereby increasing the supply chain problems. The money that is being spent in America for development or expansion of manufacturing facilities is not going to alleviate all of the supply chain problems, and it will also take a significant time to catch up and implement. Personally, I don't believe that the Chinese will put counter sanctions into place. They will play a much more refined finesse game. The Americans will pay for it one way or the other, but it will be a very subtle way of doing it. Initially, they will make loud complaints, and well, that's how it works usually. By the end of the day, it won't budge, and they will start doing it. And things like that are required is not only CPUs or GPUs. You need memory chips. You need something like a south bridge, north bridge. You need simple, normal ICs for all sorts of electronic equipment. The chips that go into cars are not the most advanced chips that you can get. So it is a very, very, not a dangerous game, but it's not what we all try to make out of it. Now, at the end of the video, they talk about basically how stupid the Western leaders are, and how can they sanction China. They do talk about that there is some speculations that out of this reduction in or the sanctions against China for advanced chips, and Taiwan does have it, that China might push up the date for incorporating Taiwan and might even result in a military operation, something which I totally cannot support. China's not that stupid to do it. And if they go, they will damage a lot of the equipment, manufacturing equipment in Taiwan. But that means nothing in any case, because even Taiwan will suffer under these sanctions, indirect sanctions. So effectively, it's a small, well, it sounds like a big thing, but it will have a small impact on the chip making industry in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and so forth and so forth. And naturally, as always, it will lead to counterproductive development, and the sanction will finally fail. And then China will advance faster and more. Just remember, they do manufacture all Bitcoin miner chips, which they have developed themselves. So they are capable of doing it. And I also understand that Russia has some CPU chips and technology, and they might share it with Chinese. And from there on, they might develop better microchips. And then we also know that Huawei, who was recently sanctioned by America, well, they went their way and they developed a new system, and Bob's your uncle. They are up and running, and didn't take them too long. And because these restrictions are put in place, people start to get worried, and they will accelerate their technological advances in order to either catch up with America or surpass them. So again, these sanctions are self-defeating, and at the end of the day, it will hurt American companies and America itself. But then, basically, again, the accusation that the American leaders are dumb, they don't know what they are doing making stupid decisions. And then the referral was made to Europe, and Ursula von der Leyen, who fully supports the whole matter and already stated that they have to distance themselves or disconnect themselves from China as a manufacturing hub and an importation hub, and that basically, if you want to read between the lines, China has become a threat to Europe as well. Well, then the question arises again, yes, it might sound for us stupid because we don't know all the facts. But are these people really that stupid? And I believe no. They have a lot of experts behind the scenes. There are a lot of money behind the scenes that are these things. And one has to ask yourself again, what else should they do? There is currently a unipolar world and a multipolar world. the West is still in the Western Hemisphere. Well, it's not the hemisphere, but, you know, a western part of the Earth. And then the rest is all east of it, if you look at the map, not as a circular. And there's going to be two economy models. The one is already established, the one has to be established. There's one financial system that is already existing, and the other one has to be developed. So there might be a typical, like a Cold War style wall between the two systems. And again, what must the West really do? Isn't this the only things that they can do? By denying technology, by sanctioning them, by forcing themselves into become self-sufficient, develop other sources, try to maintain or control over certain of the countries that might go to the eastern side of the multipolar world. You know, the question is, what are they going to do? And if you think about that, then yes, you can argue some of these decisions are stupid, but again, they have to do something. And there are not many options available. In any case, as you can see, I'm not really attacking the Duran, I'm just providing alternative view. And the more alternative views you look at, you listen to, the more you can filter the information, and the more you can decide on what you want to believe and not. And that's the only point. So until next time, please subscribe to the channel so that we can have more functions from YouTube. And leave a comment if you don't agree. If you want to criticize me, by all means, leave a comment. No problem. I don't get excited about these things. Until next time, cheers.